Welcome. This is Alex
And Gary,
from Enlight Life, regenerative living for those that are looking for complete lifestyle overhauls, longevity, rejuvenation. So you probably know me, my husband, Gary. He's been my test bunny
for many years.
for many years. And we teach together in our mastermind as well. But many of you will know mainly me, certainly from YouTube and Instagram. And you, more than likely, a lot of you have tried the 21-day total autophagy enzyme cleanse, which is a very powerful, not just detoxification system, but also regeneration system for the gut, for the liver, and really a whole system cleanse. And I feel it is one of the best ways to get started. As much as many people that think, oh my God, 21 days is so long, isn't that too long for me? It's not. It's the best way. If you are in a situation where you want to take your health to the next level, that's the best way. But in the background, we've been playing around and testing for an advanced autophagy. And what it looks like is we start the advanced, what we call the advanced autophagy cleanse. We started with the colon enzyme cleanse always. And why? Maybe Gary, you can, because I'm the expert. Gary is the one that then experienced it. So
I'm the guinea pig.
you're the guinea pig.
Yeah,
So
so the starting with the colon cleanse which is a whole day of drinking various
enzymes.
enzymes, powders and liquids, lots of water, is a profound way to just dive into any fasting protocol. The 1 day colon cleanse is actually so easy to do, and because you're consuming enzymes which are really high nutrient rich, you're not hungry at all,
Mhm.
and you have a profound release of the bowels and the intestines and the colon, and it's a great way to dive into further days of fasting, which in this protocol we then jumped in on the second day into water fasting.
Right. So really the purpose of why do we start with the colon cleanse? Because of course some of you can say, well, we can just dive into a water fast and we can avoid purchasing products and all of that. So it's not because we want to sell products. The reality is doing the colon cleanse before you start a water fast is the best way to immediately be in autophagy, and not just any colon cleanse, but the colon enzyme cleanse.
And for those who don't know what autophagy is,
Well, autophagy is really when your own body goes into, it eats up its own inflammation in the body. It's a well-known fact. Fasting, and that's why also ketogenic diets are so popular, because when you're in ketosis, and of course the deepest state of ketosis happens when you are on a water fast, when you consume nothing, the body after 72 hours at the latest, but typically, anywhere between 18 and 72 hours, depending on who you are, your lifestyle, etc., you definitely are going to be in deep ketosis, most people sooner than later. And when you consume nothing, your body switches from burning sugars, carbohydrates, simple complex carbohydrates, into burning your fat resources, right? And that's why water fasting is so powerful. And that's why ketosis is so popular, because you're forcing the body to burn fat and ketones. But being in prolonged ketosis by consuming fats, short term, no problem. Long term, it is not the greatest formula for health. However, short water fasts repeatedly are just as effective. And I would personally say even more effective, because you are really going into a deep, powerful cleansing mode. You're sending the body into deep cleansing mode. Preceding this kind of cleansing, with the colon cleanse, you're cleansing your whole gut, the colon, deeper than any other system, deeper than even a colonic. And we repeatedly have confirmation of this from colonic hydrotherapists. So immediately you are in autophagy. And it just makes the whole process easier. Can you do without? Yes, of course you can. Is it going to be just as effective? No, it won't. And certainly not as easy. So, day 2, water fasting. Day 3, water fasting. Now, we've experimented with 5 days of water fasting, in between the flushes. Potentially, you could start with only 3 days of water fasting. However, in our experience, the first 3 days of water
If it's
fasting,
2 days, maybe
yeah.
into the third day, to be honest, it's a bit rough. And a lot depends on, if you've been drinking coffee, you're going to be hit by some headaches as those coffee toxins start getting released out of your body. It was really interesting for me, this particular day 2, day 3 of the water fast. I actually felt like I was again having COVID symptoms. I was having kidney pains. I was having weird dreams. I was coughing just like I was when I was in when I had COVID last year. So it is the body is like detoxing, getting rid of those virus elements that are still there, those negative things. That's really what fasting does. It detoxes the body in a very powerful way. But by kind of end of day 3 and into day 4 and into day 5, I was in a euphoric, amazing state. I felt like I could have just gone on forever.
Mhm. So that's why we choose monthly 5-day water fast, because we figure, well, the first 3 days, can be rough, and each time will be different. But the first three days, they're not pleasant. You're gonna have a little bit less energy. You're gonna have to rest more. We find that we tend to utilize those days to kind of go into resting mode, but we can still answer emails, we can still, review material. So it's not like you're incapable of, you can still do things, but we're definitely in rest mode. And then we figure, well, instead of just stopping at 3 days, we might as well keep on going for another 2 days, because those next 2 days after the third, you just feel so much energy come back into the body. You feel great. We're still not super active. Why? Because we personally utilize those fasting days to go into fat burning, and we want to preserve muscle tissue. So especially when that's the case, when you're still looking for regeneration, which quite frankly we periodically all need, we never get beyond that, most of us. And so utilizing those days to preserve muscle. Some people say, oh, you should be working out when you're water fasting. I personally rather not, because you do lose some muscle tissue. Whereas if you do not, if you preserve your energies, if you don't work out, if you use it as your deep resting days, you're not going to lose much muscle tissue at all. And what we found is that when we then go back to working out, we have so much more
Yeah,
energy.
I was getting back into the gym so much stronger. I mean, for me personally, I lost 5 kilograms, but then most of that I think was fat waste, which I needed to do. I'd been indulging a lot more previously. So it was a really great, quick way of losing some kilograms. Um, and yeah, I felt really strong getting back into the gym.
Mhm. So back finishing. So what do we do? So we start again with the colon flush. We have our 5 days of just water. We do water and herbal teas, powerful herbal teas, because it supports the adrenal system. It supports the endocrine system in general. So we like to use that and sort of support detoxification. And then on day 7, we finish off with an enzyme liver flush.
Yeah, that was powerful.
Super powerful. And, again, depending on how well your liver is doing, the process is going to be either super easy, as it was for us this time around, because we've been doing this a lot. And some others will struggle a little bit, but the struggle is worth the results. And so typically then the results of the liver flush will be released the next day. Now, I want to kind of premise, um, because there's of course going to be there's a lot of people out there who say, oh, we've debunked liver flushes. And another premise, this particular enzyme liver flush is very different from the traditional liver flushes. I personally am not a fan of the traditional ones because consuming all that Epsom salt, I don't resonate with that at all. I've had experiences with it, very harsh. This system works on a much deeper level, but it is a lot gentler and much more supportive because you're taking powerful enzymes. And of course, I know I'm very familiar with the naysayers, those that, and I've even personally conversed with people who could give me very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very convincing reasons why liver flushes have been debunked, liver flushes don't work. And as I was listening to these people, I was like, okay, yeah, that they make complete sense. I think they're right. And however, why do I keep going back to them? Because they work. And if they wouldn't work, there's other things that we've left by the wayside because it's like, oh, it doesn't really make a big difference. But as much as, because I'm not a doctor, even though yes, I have, many years of experience in detoxification and regeneration, you could say, well, I can't explain to you the exact chemistry, scientific effect of what happens and why it works. But the point is, repeatedly, every single liver flush, not just for us, but for our clients as well. Why do they keep doing them? Because they do work. And, we've seen people save their gallbladder with it. We've seen people release a ton of liver flukes, people that were
What a liver
sick.
fluke.
Liver flukes are liver parasites. And, I didn't really believe in them until I started seeing them. I actually never released them. Actually, no, that's not true. Years ago, I did. Years ago, I did. But, clearly it wasn't my big issue. But I've had, in the meantime, several clients where no matter what we were doing, they couldn't heal. And once they started doing the liver flushes, they started releasing a ton of liver flukes. And liver flukes, of course, they can vary in sizes, but when you have a bad problem, I mean, they can literally be as big as little snails. They look like snails without a house. What are they called?
Shell.
Huh?
Snails without a shell.
Without a shell, yes, but they're like leeches or whatever. Anyway, they look like
It's like a
that,
slug.
like a slug. And I've seen some pretty big ones, and people release like 20, 30, 40, 50 of those. Now, when I've witnessed that, and then to see, okay, well, of course that person isn't healing, because as long as your liver is not fully functional, as long as your liver is that toxic, and we know the liver is one of the biggest, it actually is the biggest detoxification organ
Yeah, it's the
organ
main
and it's the
filtration
main
process.
filtration system in the body. Every ounce of blood is filtered through the liver. Everything that we consume is filtered through the liver. So of course, if your liver is not functioning well, you're gonna struggle to detox and to regenerate. And so in my experience, over and over, especially with clients that no matter what they were doing, they just weren't healing. They were doing all the right things, but they were not healing until we started to actually work deeply on the liver. And even in my case, and for you, Gary,
Mhm.
it's been, working on the liver, it's been
Well,
such
the
a
liver and the kidneys, it's like
liver and
they're the
kidneys.
basics, you know.
Yes. Well, and then
And then,
it's like the
sure, and then
adrenals are the
the
basic.
circulatory system and the respiratory system, etc.
Yeah,
But
it's all basics.
I,
And
I
that's
think
why
really the place to start is with the kidneys and the liver.
colon,
Yeah,
colon, liver,
yeah, colon.
liver,
Yeah.
kidneys.
Yeah.
So that is why we repeatedly do 21 days as well as monthly a 5 day. Super, super powerful to just keep on going. And, last thing I will say is that it may sound intimidating to begin with to do water
It
fasting
gets
or
easier.
fasting in general. It gets easier, but also every single time we've done it, we're so overwhelmed by the after effect.
Yeah, no. Oh yeah, that's such a cool thing to talk about. Like, it is really worth going through the difficult challenge of the first couple of days of water fasting and going through the fast, because for me one of the hardest things of fasting, particularly with water, is in a sense we don't realize how much time of our day we devote to preparing food, eating food, thinking about food, consuming food, and now suddenly you just got water. So what do
Mhm.
you do with all of this time? um
Yeah, so
but
often you go like, "Oh my God, I'm so
no,
bored."
exactly, it's like working with that, and I think that's the meditation of the process.
And we both have our
But
moments.
what I really want to say is what's like just so amazing, and you need to talk about how does one break a fast,
Mhm.
that when you break the fast, OMG, the ecstasy of taste, even of what you break a fast is simple things, but those simple foods that you start eating again, it's like, wow,
It's an orgasmic
amazing.
experience.
It's like a bliss at a new level. And to get there, you've got to do the work of going through the difficult challenge of the fast.
Mhm.
But as I say, it's really just 1 or 2 days, I'd say, that are really difficult. In my experience of all the fasting I've
Yes.
done, it's the early couple of days that are really difficult.
Well, and then within those days, there's moments.
Yeah.
And if we can, you know, overcome those moments, because it's not like for hours you're in agony. There's moments where you go, "Oh my God, I'm so bored." And you just want to go, "Okay, fuck it, I'm just going to break the fast. Like I'll do it next week." But if you can overcome those moments, you're good. Then actually you forget about it, and then maybe there's another moment, and so that's where we have been supporting one another. Sometimes I have a moment where I go, "You know what? Actually, I'm so over it. I'll do it. I'll start again tomorrow." And then Gary will say, "No, come, let's just
Yeah, so
stay with it,"
it's
and
great
vice
to
versa.
have each other to motivate each other. But if you're doing it by yourself, that's where we suggest, joining our support groups. We are there to help encourage, and other people doing fast to see how it's done. I mean, there are many fasting groups out there, and we can encourage one another. And then another really interesting thing, which we were reminded from, live here in Bali, and we were chatting to one of the therapists, and she says in her village,
Mm-hmm.
people fast, and what they do is they go up into the mountains, and all they do is they just chant mantras, and that's a really effective and powerful um, way. And I think at some later point we can do a special video just on how to use mantras with
Yeah.
fasting. So there are many ways to work with those moments, like meditation, like really just go into meditation, get detached, become the observer of this you that's like wanting to give in, that's wanting to, it's all just in the mind. What's been, you know, really focusing and encouraging for me, I've been listening to the audiobooks of David Goggins. You can look him up. His story is quite amazing, and it's just like it's all in the mind, all in the mind.
Mm-hmm.
But when we get to the other side, so let's talk about how you end a fast.
Yes. So of course, super important ending the fast correctly and basically refeeding correctly. Even with a short fast, you don't just want to, 3 days is a little bit easier than 5 days. But either way, you don't want to just end the fast and, certainly not go binging, but even not go and eat big volumes of food, because now your body is really open. And so, depending on what you're trying to achieve, like, are you Are you trying? And that's why there's so much conflicting information out there. Some will say never end your fast or break your fast with fruit. And then others will say never break your fast with fats or with protein or whatever it is. Well, it depends. What are you fasting for? What are you preparing your metabolism for? So, first of all, we need to realize that when we are fasting, we're burning fat, right? We're in ketosis, the body is burning fat for fuel. So, breaking your fast with fat will, and fat meaning, a miso soup with maybe a teaspoon or two of avocado and a teaspoon of sauerkraut.
Mm,
Like,
that was delicious.
yeah, that's actually a really good way of breaking your fast. But it's a little miso soup, some seaweed, 1 or 2 teaspoons of avocado, and what's that? Oh, and sauerkraut or kimchi. So what are we doing here? We're keeping the body still in fat burning mode, and yet we're introducing cultured food so that we can get the microbiome going again and fed correctly. And then personally, we started taking, our green powders and the various things that we utilize to repopulate the gut microflora, etc. Whereas if you, so it really, like I said, it depends. What is your goal? If you want to go into deep healing mode, then you may want to break the fast with green juices. Sometimes, yes, fruit will also be appropriate, but it depends where you're coming from, where are you going, because oftentimes our body will be struggling to burn sugars, or actually even struggle to burn fat where a lot of the toxins are stored. And so if your pancreas is weak, your liver is weak, well, first we need to help you regenerate that, and then we can kind of switch gears. So the breaking of the fast really depends, but ultimately we want to do it gradually, little bit of food at a time, certainly for the first day or two. And this is for a 3 or 5 day water fast. The longer you go, the more days you need to integrate with liquids, fruit juices, vegetable juices, etc. And then you're back into whatever foods you were doing. Personally, also, we choose to at least once a week do a 24, preferably 36-hour water fast,
Just that
just to,
Mondays, it's just a good
yeah.
kind of like reset in that week. Um, and I after did the 7 day fast, 5 days water in between, we I lost 5 kilograms.
I
Then
can weigh myself.
we went away for a bit. We ate out at restaurants. I picked up 2 kilograms. Did the 1 day fast, and after that 1 day fast, I'd lost those 2 kilograms. Look, it doesn't really. I like numbers.
Yeah,
I'm a
I
male.
don't.
Males like measurements and numbers.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's a profound fasting protocol, and we just encourage everyone to jump in and do it.
Yeah, try it out. And yeah, I think that's all we wanted to share
Yeah,
in this video.
great. Thanks.
Thank you.